I I don't think your mic's working.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right, cool. All right, 1 second. Your name's Zach, right?
yeah.
All right, cool. Hold on, just 1 second. Hello. Okay, hold on. All right, man. So how's it going?
Good.
Cool. So you wanted to debate veganism?
Yeah.
All right. Um, Anything in particular that you had in mind, or
I don't know. We could just I don't really know. We could just debate veganism, I guess.
okay? Um, Hold on. Okay.
You recording right
So,
now?
yeah, I am. Yep.
I am as well.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So you said you're not vegan, right?
No.
Okay. So I'm because you're fine with starting. However, I'm going to start how I usually start talking about veganism.
Hmm.
All right. So first, I'm going to define it just so we're on the same page as to what veganism is. All right.
All right.
So veganism is an ideology that rejects the commodification of animals. So that means we don't want to use them, abuse them, kill them for food, clothing, entertainment, or anything else.
Hmm.
So what about that definition do you not align with?
Well, I think personally, it's a choice. Like you can be vegan if you want to, but if you
Mhm.
don't want to, then that's fine as well.
I guess that's what I'm asking. Why don't, like, what about that do you not align with? Like, why don't you want to? I'm just talking about you individually. Forget about
Well,
everyone else, just you.
like I said, it's my choice. And you know,
Right, but why choose to pay for the abuse and killing of animals when you don't need to? Right, so like, what about that definition do you disagree with or do you not align with?
well, not really anything. It's just kind of just my choice.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't disagree or you align with that definition, but you're just choosing not to align your actions with it because it's your choice?
Yeah. And plus, I feel like a lot of vegans are toxic, and I don't want to be associated with them. I'm not saying you
Well,
are. I'm not saying you are.
sure. Well, forget about other vegans, right? I'm just talking about because veganism is just rejecting the exploitation of animals, right? So, again, like if you align with that definition, that's why you should be vegan, right? So, like, do you have a reason as to why you're like you think it's the right choice to pay for the abuse and killing of animals when we don't have to?
Well, I don't think it's the right choice. I think it's just It's anyone's choice. Like,
Right. Well, it's anyone's choice to like hurt other humans as well, right? But if you ask them, hey, why are you choosing to hurt other humans? They're going to have some reason, right? Now, if they don't have any reason, then we could chalk it up to maybe psychopathy, where they're insane and they're repeating the same thing over and over again. But for every action that people take, we would hope that there is some type of rationale or some type of reasoning behind that action, right?
hmm.
So,
Well, I'm gonna be totally real with you. Meat kind of tastes good. It does. I'm gonna be
okay.
totally honest. It does.
No, that's
All
fine.
right.
That's a reason. Yeah, that's a reason. Okay. So your main reason as to why you, again, continue to contribute to the systemic killing and abuse of animals is because of the taste of meat, right? And that's fair. I mean, not fair, but meat does taste good. You know, animal products do taste good for sure. I didn't stop eating animal products because I stopped liking the taste. You know, I stopped eating animal products because I couldn't answer that question. Like, what's my justification for continuing to contribute to the death of all these animals when we don't have to, just for a little bit of taste, right? So when we're saying, if you're saying that taste justifies or allows that behavior, what you're essentially saying is that enjoyment allows that behavior, right? It allows certain behaviors. So, like, do you think that enjoyment is a good reason or a justification for actions to justify actions?
Well, no, but I actually disagree with most of the stuff that goes on in slaughterhouses. Just saying.
Okay, well, that's that. Then I would say that's a direct contradiction. So, like, if you are saying that you disagree with what goes on in slaughterhouses, but you continue to pay for meat and animal products that come out of slaughterhouses, then that's just hypocritical, right? So that's number one. I would urge you to like align your values. Like, if you really feel that way, then you're just going against your own values. But even if we forget about slaughterhouses, um, again, like, what's the justification for breeding and systematically killing all these animals anyway? Even if they were given nice treatment, why would we breed all these animals and kill them at a fraction of their life?
Well, if they're given nice treatment, then I think it's all right. Just I'm gonna say it right now. I think it's all right
Okay.
if you give them nice treatment.
So let me ask you this. So you're saying that if a individual is treated nicely, then they should be allowed to have their life ended. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if we're talking about animals, sure, I guess.
Well, so what's the difference between an animal and a human to where you say, okay, an animal, as long as we treat them nicely, we can kill them at a tenth of their lifespan. But a human, even though we treat them nicely, it's still not right to kill them at a tenth of their lifespan. What's the difference?
Well, humans are obviously more advanced, right?
Okay.
Like,
Right, but babies aren't more advanced, right? I know humans,
yeah, they're
adult
still
humans.
human though.
Sure,
They're
sure.
still
Yeah, no, I understand. Like, I know humans as a whole, but there are humans that aren't more advanced, right? There are vulnerable populations, whether it be parents who have children, whether it be people with mental disabilities, whether it be disabled people, whether it be, we could come up with a million examples of humans that are more vulnerable and less intelligent
I'm
than the
still
average
pretty
human.
sure even people disabled people are still more advanced than any animal. I'm pretty sure.
Well, there are some, yeah, I'm sure.
That's what I
There's,
heard.
there's a, well, because there's a spectrum, right? So, like,
Yeah.
you could have people that are almost literally brain dead and have to be like giving, taken care of their entire lives, and yet we still give them rights and we still protect them, right? So,
Mhm.
my question is, why the differentiation in treatment, right? Because I know that from what you've said, taste, right? Obviously, taste,
Mhm.
right? But we agree that that's not going to hold up with consistency. But now you're saying cognitive ability, right? But
Yeah.
why would cognitive ability, somebody's intelligence, right, determine how they're treated when even people with lower intelligence can still experience life, can still feel the pain that's inflicted upon them, and still have a will to live, whether it's animals or humans?
Well, also the thing is, I mean, we've been eating animals since like for quite a while. So there's that as well. I mean,
Okay. I mean, that's fine. We used to do a lot of things for thousands of years that we've chosen to get away from. I mean, human sacrifice was pretty common in a lot of ancient cultures. Slavery, sexual assault has only recently, like in recent times, become illegal. So a lot of things that have been, I don't want to say all of them were accepted, but a lot of things that have been culturally normal and that have happened for thousands of years, we recognize as immoral and we choose to get away from. So, like, why would eating animals or continuing to kill and eat these animals have any immunity to that?
I mean, it's
You know, so like that's the thing is like
yeah,
online, you see these. I've seen your channel a little bit, and you
yeah.
essentially
I
just
kind
kind
of
of
just shit on vegans. I'm gonna be totally honest with you.
no, yeah, you kind of just like make fun of like some of the cringier vegans, some of the cringier actions, right? Like I know you point out Tash Peterson a lot, even though
Yeah,
I think her activism does make a noise, and I think it is useful. It's not my preferred activism, right? I don't go into
yeah. I actually
stores and
don't mind your activism. I think that's what every vegan should be like.
well, I appreciate that, but regardless of like, because I could for every like, for example, I like photography, right?
Yeah.
For every photographer that behaves nicely, I can probably point you to 3 or 4 photographers that I have no interest associating with or talking to, right? So just because there are individuals within a community or within a certain hobby or lifestyle, whatever, that act poorly or act in a way that you disagree with, what does that
Mhm.
have to do with the main principle of
It
what
just
you're
makes
all?
the whole group look bad. Like the entire group, like they ruin it for the entire group. That's the thing. Like
I mean, maybe, but I would say that's a form of prejudice, right? So what you're doing is you're taking an individual who
no, but
you
I don't hate all vegans though. I just hate the cringe ones. Like I don't hate you. I don't have any problem with you.
okay. Well, I mean, but if you hate the cringe ones, why would that stop you from being vegan? You could continue to hate the cringe vegan. I know a lot of vegans who don't like certain vegan activists. I know a lot of vegans who disagree with either it's Tash Peterson or Earthling Ed or Lifting Vegan Logic or any of these activists who say they're not firm enough. They advocate for non-vegan things, this and that. So I know a lot of vegans who disagree with certain activists, but they're still vegan because the principle of it they align with, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I mean, look, you can continue to live your life in like a inconsistent, hypocritical way and like just shit on vegans all the time. Like that, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But like, I would urge you, like, if you don't have good answers to these questions, if the answers to these questions like fall apart due to a lack of consistency, like, do you really want to live your life that way? That's really up to you. The ball's in your court on that end. I would say like, would you do you like seeing animals get harmed?
No, not at all.
No, right. So the thing is, the industry that you support requires animals to get harmed. Right now, I know a lot of people point to veganism saying that animals die for humans to live, which is true, right? There's no way of avoiding all
Yeah.
animal death. But the thing is, our system or our lifestyle at this time requires animals to die, right? But to
Mhm.
grow, the desire to have cucumbers and soy and wheat and all these things.
That's why I also think vegans are hypocrites as well. Like they're over here being like like
No, no, go for it.
yeah, they're over here being like, oh yeah, animals have to die for food. Well, animals also have to die for your food too.
That's true. So animals do have to die for humans to live, but whether it's building homes, growing crops, whatever reason, the difference is the product is not animal death and exploitation, right? So I think intention, even for human to human murder, plays a big role. That's why manslaughter is different than like first degree murder.
Mhm.
But regardless of intention, in a vegan worldview, we could potentially get to a point where none of these animals have to die, where we no longer have to result in other animals dying, right? Hopefully, with advancing technology. But the point is, not only is a vegan world a vast reduction in animal death, it would be pretty much an elimination of animal exploitation, right? Because there's a difference between animals dying for us to grow food or us taking resources from animals that would otherwise use those resources versus having a system where we actually breed animals to abuse them, keep them in confined spaces, and then kill them in a fraction of the lifespan when we literally don't have to. All of the animal products could go away, and there would still be plenty of food, nutrition, everything we need as humans to survive with the modern day that we live in.
I guess. I don't know. I don't think a vegan world will ever happen. It might. It might. Maybe in the future, it might happen.
But here's the thing: whether it does or it doesn't, that's up to individuals like you, right? So like if you're against animal abuse, if you don't want to see animals harmed, the vegan worldview is the only possible way of getting there. So like you can be the guy that makes YouTube videos and just like shits on vegans, or you can be the guy who recognizes your own values, aligns your actions with them, and actually helps us get there. You know, that's what vegans are advocating for. That's why we're on the street talking to people, because really now, as the movement's growing, people have the option, right? People have the choice. They either can help the movement and get to a better place where we don't exploit animals, or they can hinder the movement by continuing to do what they're doing.
But like I said, I still think the cringe vegans they hurt the movement just as a whole. Like I don't see a problem with going vegan. I actually don't at all. I don't see. I have nothing against vegans or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, but that might be true. Like I said, I don't think we have any evidence to show. Like Tash Peterson might actually be very successful in turning people vegan, right? So we actually don't know. And in fact, based on her large following, I would probably argue the latter. I'd probably say that she has turned more people vegan than myself, at least as of now.
She has a lot of haters, though. She has a lot of haters, and I'm one of them. So.
That's true. I mean, we all do. But again, the point is, you know, whether you agree with everything that Tash Peterson does or other vegan activists should have nothing to do with your own actions and values. Right? So like I've seen some things that Tash Peterson does and says, wow, I wouldn't do that. You know, me personally, it's not my form of activism. But I still align with her cause and I'm still vegan because veganism has nothing to do with what one person how one person behaves.
Yeah, if you did the same thing Tash did, I would have probably already known who you were. Because you're from Plymouth, Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also from Massachusetts. I'm only like an hour away.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I
Cool.
probably would have heard of you like the news or something.
That's awesome. All right, cool. Well, fellow Massachusetts guy. All right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, man. Like again, like I can answer any more questions if you have any more objections, but like once you actually directly answer these questions, once we actually go down to what veganism is, it's almost unrefutable. Especially like if you're a decent person who actually doesn't want to see animals abused and harmed. And I think you answered these questions honestly, which is exactly why it's even easier to get to a conclusion that you should be vegan.
I mean, honestly, it doesn't even really seem that bad. It's just the cringe. It's just the cringy people. I just don't want to be associated with them. Like
Okay.
Everyone associates vegans with this. Like they ruin it for everyone.
But let me give you another example. So, are you against murder?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's say that the only non-murderers were people like Tash Peterson. Okay, so let's say the people who murder are like totally chill, you know, they don't really make a fuss, they're like totally cool. But then all of the non-murderers are people like Tash Peterson who scream and they're like pouring blood on stuff, advocating. Would you just be a murderer because you disagree with what Tash does? Or would you
if it's normal society, then yeah, I guess.
Okay, so you just go along and be a murderer just to not be associated with Tash Peterson. Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't want to live my life that way. So I don't know. Like vegans do get a lot of shit from, well, I don't want to say people like you, but from
people.
A lot of
normal
people.
Vegans get a lot of shit because of the cringe ones.
And that might be true, but at the end of the day, the message is what we align with. And that's why people are vegan. It's not about who's doing what, where. You know, there's a lot of vegans who say a lot of incorrect information. Not activists are usually pretty good, but like just vegans, like common people vegans that I talk to on the street that I run into, they're not always saying the right thing. They're sometimes exaggerating certain points, or maybe they might have, they might think that raw fruit diet is like the most healing diet ever, right?
Yeah, it's
But
another thing. Is a lot of vegan activists don't like regular vegans. It seems they're not all, but a lot of them do. And once again, I'm not saying you're one of them. I'm just saying.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think it's that we don't like regular vegans. I think that a lot of vegans, just like anywhere else, it's not vegans. A lot of people in general are like generally flawed. And what will happen is they may have certain exaggerated information, or they may not go completely off of the science or logical thinking. And then we just can't agree with that. Like we can't promote that. So like anyone that's vegan, I fully support, and I think they're doing like enough. But if they do start saying misinformation, I'm going to outwardly disagree with them, because it's important, that there's some homogeny to the movement. But but again, like I said, I like photography,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to stop doing photography because there's a couple photographers that are abhorrent or that I really disagree with. So that's the thing, is like you can be vegan and disagree with other vegans. That's fine. But why pay for
I
the
know.
death and abuse of animals by the billions when you don't have to?
Yes, it's just still. I mean, like it's really just the cringe vegans. I want to say right now, it's really just the cringe vegans.
All right. Well, I look, man. Besides the cringe vegan point, I mean, do you have any other objection or any other reason why you wouldn't be vegan?
I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of fun making videos on vegans, and I just hate being associated. Yeah, it's.
Well, look, man, I urge you to reflect on the conversation we had, listen to it over. Like, I want you to hear the answers you're giving to these questions. And if you still think that your desire to not be associated with somebody who, quite frankly, is a very passionate and a very forward person in the animal rights movement, you may disagree with what they do. But if you still, if you had desire so badly to not associate with them to the point where you are literally going against your own values, you're paying for animals to be
Well,
abused,
also, I
paying for
mean, animals get killed like in crop deaths and stuff. So aren't vegans just hypocrites? We're all just killing animals, so it doesn't even matter anyway.
Well, so that's the same argument of saying, well, we can't be perfect, so why doesn't everyone just
We're
murder
not
each other?
perfect either. None of us are perfect. So that's the thing.
That's the point, is even though we can't stop all murder, all death, all exploitation, we still need laws in place to protect individuals, right? We can't stop all murder, but murder is still illegal, right? Under your view, right? We shouldn't even try to get better. We shouldn't even try to reduce murder or stop murder, because what's the point? People are always going to get killed, right? That's not. I don't think that's a. We don't use that point of view, or we don't take that perspective for any other injustice, right? So, and I think I already explained the difference between animals dying for us to survive, whether it's building homes, growing crops, versus animals being the product, animals being who we abuse and exploit, right? There's a very big difference. Animals are not the product when we're trying to live as humans in a vegan world. They may die. We may take resources from them as a consequence of us living, but they are not the product. They are not who we are after, if that makes sense.
I guess. And also, what do you think of like a vegan cat? Because I have cats. Do you think they should
Mhm.
go vegan? Because I personally don't
So,
think they should.
well, it's not really about who thinks what, right? When we're talking about cats, dogs, humans going vegan, it's about the science, right? Because the reason why they say cats can't go vegan is because they're obligate carnivores.
But they are
All
though. That's the thing.
No, they are, so they are obligate carnivores. But do you know what obligate carnivores mean?
It
What
means
that
they,
word
they can
means?
only eat meat.
Well, not exactly. So obligate carnivores means that, typically, naturally, they need to consume meat in order to get the right balance of nutrients, right? So they
Mhm.
require meat to get the right proportion of nutrients. But with the modern technology we have, if we can create a cat food or a cat formula that can provide them with all of the nutrients the same way that meat can, and they're able to digest that food, then there shouldn't be any difference in health quality or quality of life. And that's the thing, is now we're developing this dog and cat food that's vegan, that supplies them with all the nutrition, and that seemingly hasn't led to any increase in health consequences. So we got to go with the science.
Yes, there's a lot of douchebags like Vegan Gains who are over here saying it's healthier to make your cat go vegan than it's not, which I think is complete bullshit. I think it's complete bullshit. I'm gonna be totally honest with you.
Well, again, in terms of healthier, he references an actual study that does show that vegan cats had less hospital visits or vet visits. Now, I don't know if it's a definitive enough to be able to say that vegan cats are healthier, but I would say that we can definitely conclude that vegan cats, when given the proper vegan formula, can be as healthy as non-vegan cats. I don't see
Yeah,
anything coming out about like that would conflict with that.
I think it's bullshit. But I think everything he says is bullshit. So there's that as well.
Well, again, you might disagree with a lot of things that Vegan Gains says. I don't agree with Vegan Gains on a lot of things, but the point is that has nothing to do with you being vegan and you stopping, the action of stopping to pay for the abuse and killing of animals.
I guess.
Anything
And you're
else,
gonna up.
man?
Well, I mean, you're gonna upload this, and all your supporters are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you owned him."
Well, nobody really says that, but in terms
Yeah,
of
they
like,
will. They will.
it's
It's okay. It's fine.
well, it's not really about owning, right? I in no way want to like make you look bad. I simply am asking you questions to get an idea of where your values are. And then I just explain how veganism fits your values, right? Because most people that at least I want to associate with are against animal abuse and against animals being harmed and abused for no reason. And that's exactly what veganism is. We're against exploiting animals for no reason, right? And by no
Yes.
reason, no necessity. Um, and the system we have in place is completely, like you said it yourself, for taste pleasure, right? You like the taste, you like steak,
Mhm.
burgers, chicken wings, whatever, but you don't need it, right? Um, so why continue doing it?
I don't know. I mean,
And but see, that's the question. When I ask you, you say, I don't know, right? When I was 18, I went vegan 18. It's going to be 7 years in March. I asked myself that question, right? After looking into diets, after looking into, I found out about veganism. I asked myself that question of, well, I don't want to see animals harmed. And I literally eat their flesh. I put their flesh in my mouth. Why am I doing that?
but
And
it
I
tastes
said,
so
I don't.
damn good. It tastes
I
pretty
know,
good.
but I said, look, I don't know why I'm still doing this. There's other things that taste good. There's
Nah,
other.
vegan meat's nasty. I'm sorry. It's so bad. It's so
You
bad.
don't have to eat vegan meat. You could eat pasta. You could eat rice dishes. You could eat soups. You could eat so many different foods that have nothing to do with vegan meat. I don't eat any vegan meat on a daily basis sometimes, but I don't eat any vegan meat. I eat oatmeal. I eat pasta. I eat fruits, nut butters. I eat peanut butter. You don't like peanut butter?
Peanut butter's pretty good.
Peanut butter's pretty good. Peanut butter's great. On some whole wheat bread, you're good, man. That's the thing, is like that answer of I don't know. When we say I don't know about an action, I think the baseline, or like if we don't know something, we shouldn't act. We should refrain from acting. So if the action is, okay, I'm going to pay for the abuse of animals, and the inaction is, okay, I'm not going to pay for the abuse of animals. if you don't know, we should refrain from paying from the abuse of animals, at least until you do know, right? If you can come up with some kind of argument that debunks veganism, then maybe present it, and then if it sticks, go back to eating, killing animals. But if you don't know and you can't debunk veganism, we should not be paying for those animals to be killed.
Well, I mean, they also, it's not like directly like, I guess, making it so the animals are killed. It's like the animal's gonna die either way, whether you buy the product or not. So like once again,
So
I don't see
actually,
that problem.
well, not entirely. So are you aware with, are you familiar with supply and demand?
Yeah. Yeah, that burger's gonna come back to
Okay.
the cow's gonna come back to life when I don't buy the steak in the grocery. That's
No,
totally
no,
how it
no.
works.
It's not about the current animals that are killed. It's about preventing future animals that are killed. So obviously, we know that when you go to the grocery store, the hunks of flesh that are on the shelves, those animals are dead and they're not coming back, right? So obviously
Yeah.
that's true. And you not buying that steak isn't going to make it so those animals didn't die. But what you not buying that steak does is it takes demand away from the animal agriculture industry, and therefore they breed, abuse, and kill less animals overall. Right? If you look at all the statistics, dairy sales, milk sales are down, meat sales are down. And what happens when these big trillion-dollar industry companies like Tyson, like McDonald's, like whatever other dairy company, when they start losing money, they're going to transition to where the money is. That's just what all businesses
Yeah,
care
that
about. They care
contribute
about
like
profit.
not probably not even a percent to the meat industry. Like not even a percent. And you guys and you vegans are over here saying I'm the same as Hitler. Or not you, but vegans just in general.
Yeah, I don't think you're the same as Hitler. Um, I think that most people are uneducated or have a disconnection. They have cognitive dissonance with their actions and their values. But what I do think is makes a difference. What I do, where I draw the line is like in this conversation, for example, where you acknowledge that you don't have a good answer for it, where you acknowledge that you're not really sure why you're doing it, and then any arguments you do bring, I'm able to like kind of easily um, break down, and you continue to still pay for the animals being killed. That's where like just from like person to person, I just can't really like we're just not gonna like jive that well. Right? I don't think that people who go to the store and buy a steak are Nazis or most of them genuinely want to be good people. I think that there's a disconnect. The difference though is how people respond to information, right? So if those same people who want to be good people all of a sudden don't want to be good people just because they want their chicken nuggets and their burgers, that's where I have to go, okay, so you're not that good of a person. Clearly you're not trying to be the best person you could be. Right? So likewise, like I don't think you're a Nazi, but after this conversation, if you continue to do it even though you like disagree with it, I'm just going to say you're a hypocrite and you're just not trying to be the best person you could be with, align your actions with your values.
All right, I guess. I mean, well, it's like 6 minutes left before the meeting ends, so we just end it here, I guess.
All right, man. But I look, feel free to reach out anytime. I have a website with
All
resources.
right.
I urge you to look more, forget about Cass Peterson for a second. I urge you to look more into veganism, separate from, the activists you think are cringy, because there's
Yeah,
no
but it's just
reason.
like all the vegans, right? They like people like Tash Peterson make all vegans look bad. Like,
And
so
that,
yeah,
again, that's fine, but like, for lack of a better like sentence, who cares? Right? Like if you know that you're abstaining from doing something that you're against, I don't care if like for example, um let's just say what's a good example? Yeah, I mean, let's say that there was a murderer, like let's say Charles Manson was vegan, for example, right?
and I'm not going
Like
vegan.
but that doesn't make any sense, because just because there's somebody who was vegan that did horrible things doesn't mean that they did those horrible things because of veganism, or that it reflects anything about the vegan message. It just means that they had other
Well,
flaws
if
or
they're
other
just a
issues in their
murderer and
life.
they just so happen to be vegan, then there's that. But people
That's
who's
what I'm
like Cash
saying.
Peterson, like that's her whole thing, is like screaming at people who aren't vegan.
And again, that's her form of activism, and she, clearly she must be getting results and getting somewhere. But again, that's not my form of activism. But why? How does that reflect on the action, like the philosophy or the ideology of veganism? Right, those two separate things. How somebody advocates for veganism and the vegan message or veganism itself is totally separate. And you could disagree with one,
Yeah, it
but
is
still
separate. It's
align with
just
the other.
like people don't realize that though, and they see it as the same thing.
Well, I hope you realize that now. I hope you're able to realize that it's separate. Like you said, you like my activism. You respect me more than Tash Peterson. We're
Yeah,
both vegan, me and her. We both stand for pretty much. We might have minor disagreements, but we pretty much stand for the same thing, right? We want to end the exploitation of animals, specifically by humans. And that's the thing is, we have different methods, but we align with veganism, and that's why we're vegan. And
yeah.
you can be a vegan activist and do it your own way.
I'm not. That's not going to happen. Hate to
Well,
break
look,
it to
man,
you.
that you no, don't hate to break it to me. Like I said, you were the one that said, you don't want to see animals abused, you don't want to see animals harmed, and then at the end of the day, you're the one who's got to live with, doing things or paying for things that go against your own values.
Yeah,
That's on you.
yeah. I'm gonna end
I'm
it here.
it,
I think we should end it here because the meeting's gonna be. It's like two
okay.
minutes left. So
All right, man. Anything you want to close with or anything else?
no, you can just end it here.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Well, nice talking to you, man.
Nice talking to you as well.
Bye bye.
Bye.